Hello everybody, TWA here with a companion build video to my recent build of Airfix's P51D in Rosarius colors. Continuing a theme I am very taken with, today I will be building another subject flying under the flag of someone other than its motherland, and perhaps in the service of an enemy. In this installment, I'll be building Airfix's BF-109e3, replicating an example purchased by the USSR for evaluations at Koltsovo Airfield in 1940. My narration will be minimal on this build, primarily focused on pointing out changes made to replicate this aircraft, because in another first for this channel, this will be my second build of the same subject. For my more detailed thoughts on this kit, see my previous video. They largely have not changed. When this aircraft was sold to the Soviets, the complete aircraft was shipped without armament, gun sight, and armor. I very carefully carved out the machine gun barrels from the nose with an X-Acto blade, and then smoothed the work area over by applying Tamiya extra thin cement. Brush applied paints in this video are Vallejo acrylics, generally either black, red, white, light gray, silver, or a combination of black and silver. The cockpit and landing gear components were painted RLM02, created with the mixture of Tamiya acrylics presented on screen. The interior is washed with Fleury Model's clay-based wash. After it had dried, it is removed with water-dampened Q-tips and paper towels. Unlike the first time that I built this kit on the channel, I had no interest in displaying the engine. I painted anything that may have been visible through cowl inlets Vallejo black, then glued the cowl into place. Propeller and spinner were painted Tamiya black. I then used the same color to prepare the surface of the white bands and red stars. I followed the black with a layer of Tamiya white, first as appreciated for stars, and then thicker on the wings and fuselage for the white bands. Having finished the white, I sprayed the relevant parts with a mixture of Tamiya Flat Rad and Tamiya Gloss. I masked off the white bands with Tamiya tape, then scaled some stars in a Word document, traced them onto Tamiya tape, and cut them out with my X-Acto to act as masks. I unified the surfaces with the primer using a random, close enough Tamiya acrylic that I had on hand, then pre-shaded along panel lines. On the underside, I used Tamiya red-brown, and on the upper side, Tamiya black. The paint scheme was an otherwise typical RLM 70 over 71 splinter over an RLM 65 underside. These were mixed with Tamiya acrylics, starting with ratios displayed on screen, then lightened by eye with either white or buff. After painting the RLM 71 and masking, I reshaded the panel lines with black and then painted the RLM 70. Because the RLM 70 is so dark, I used a bit of white to brighten up the center of the panels as well. After the masks were removed, I applied a coat of Tamiya gloss. Once that had set, I used Microset and Solvaset to apply stencil decals. The decals were sealed with another coat of Tamiya gloss. Once that had dried, the airframe was washed with Flory Models Black. The dried wash was removed in the direction of airflow using wet paper towels and Q-tips. I used Tamiya Flat Clear nearly unfinned to apply a matte coat to the model. As has been typical lately, I was not thrilled with the result. Even after multiple coats, it's more like a semi-gloss, and in a few small areas it had gone white and kind of dusty. It doesn't show up on video or when looking at the model, but if you know what to look for and you get up close to it, you can definitely see it in person. I applied the exhaust with a super thin mixture of Tamiya Black and Red Brown. I painted the exhaust with Vallejo Hull Red and then dry brushed, while still wet, an Ammo Rusty Brown color. After carefully attaching the antenna and painting it with a Vallejo Model Air RLM 70, I could call this build complete. I'm pretty happy with how this model came out. A kit I originally purchased solely to rob decals for the P51 project wound up being unique and, most important to me at the time, fast build. I think from cutting the cockpit off the sprue to taking the final pictures took less than 2 weeks, which to me, especially at the time as I was getting ready to return to my last semester at university, was lightning fast. My insignia masks could have been a bit cleaner, but overall I think they came out reasonably well. I would have preferred decals, but operating on the time frame I had available, that would have turned into a vicious cycle fast. I have always really enjoyed these sorts of subjects, familiar aircraft and unfamiliar colors. I have other builds in this vein planned, or at least intended, both in 48th and 72nd scale. If that interests you, please watch this space, and I will see you guys in the next one.